Yes, sir. Greetings, everyone. It's your boy Blaine Bent, aka Bravo Picasso, Heavy Metal Savannah, the Bat Cave, all that jazz. Listen, man, today we're gonna talk about the cultural importance of barbershops worldwide and why to, every man in general, but to the black man especially, since I am a black man, how important it is to just have a crispy hairline, like just self-respect and taking care of self. It almost gives a mirror to people outside of you on how to treat you. You know what I'm saying? If they see you with a crispy cut, they thinking like, all right, he about his business. Probably got some motion to him. You know what I mean? So that's what we gonna get into. Roll up, pour up, sit back, relax, do what you got to do to get in the zone. We here. So it's crazy because I say to myself how it's so crucial to take care of one's image. Not saying you got to be all about your image, but for me, living in this world, right? Like my experiences with being Wolverine, wolfed out, you know what I'm saying? A lot of women love that shit. That rugged, like, oh, he got that grit to him. You know what I'm saying? And oftentimes to others, even if it's super attractive, it could also be super like, oh, he's dangerous, like he's probably up to something. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of women may not admit it, but they like that level of danger to a man. You know what I'm saying? Now, depending on what type of race you are and stuff like that, whether I had a haircut or not, if by any off chance I was to startle somebody, they get the scare like, oh my God, like, clutch my purse and my pearls. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, having a haircut, man, it changes everything, and I want to dedicate this episode to my uncle Joe from the Big Time Barbershop downtown in Ithaca, New York. He's been cutting my hair for like years now. Like I'm talking like middle school. I'm 33, so that already say a lot about loyalty, consistency. He's had a few health scares in the past, and it ran my mind like, wow, like I never thought to go to another barber. There's a few people I know in my life that, cut my hair and they're really good too, but not everybody got the personality, the aura, the energy, the vibe that's just, you know what I mean? Like barbershops hold the mantle of therapy and congregation with your brothers and being able to, talk sports, talk shit, talk about life, talk about money, casino trials, talk about just anything that dudes is into. You know what I'm saying? And oftentimes it also is a hangout spot, for like if you're trying to kill some time. Like back when I used to catch the bus to go from places, I might pull up at the shop and just, read a mag and the TV is playing, we might be on Netflix or whatever it is that's just putting on a movie, and I'm there not even getting a cut just because it's like a second home to me, no different than the studio. And see, in the studio, we're able to create crispy lines and project that on music. And then in the barbershop, we're still able to create crispy lines and talk music or talk shop. And I just want to show my level of appreciation to all barbers out there that, really took the time to master their craft, build up a clientele. Even with I was able to land an interview with one of our past mayors of our town, Savante, right at the old barbershop downtown on the Commons. You know what I'm saying? So me and Unc, we got a lot of history, man, and you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just super important that we show our love, we give our thanks. I remember when COVID happened, and it was like everything had to go up. Yesterday's price was not today's price at that point, right? Like everything had to go up. Cuts wasn't, $15-$20 anymore. Now you talking, 30, throw a little 5 for the tip, whatever, or sometimes it's 35 depending on what you get. And you might get the hot cloth treatment, the razor sharp, treatment. And so, a lot of people complain about the price of admission, right? And for me, I'm not gonna front. Like, I love being rugged, not because I can't afford it, but I'm putting my money in other places to grow and do other things because, believe it or not, I'm not always about the image. You know what I'm saying? I take care of my image. I treat my image like a professional. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying don't care about it, but it's not everything. Like, I gotta be vain about it. You know what I'm saying? So I try to time it. Like, there's gonna be episodes if I'm going live. Like, if I think to go live, in my mind, I'm like, shit, like, what type of topic is it? Should I get crispy for the topic? You know what I'm saying? Or is it one of them laid back topics so where I could just vibe? Like, I really grade it like that because, I understand that when it's a production and things go out to the internet, you're gonna want to put your best foot forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want no boogers in your nose while you talking for like an hour and the shit you was dropping was hate, but you got the boogie in your nose. You know what I'm saying? And now the whole comment section is just talking about that, or you got ashy knuckles. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure it happens, but I try to treat the same way how I go to the studio and I have my rhymes and my choruses and all of that prepared, my sound effects, whatever I'm using for the session prepared. I try to treat my stream or my content creation in the same vein of professionalism. And it's just really self-care and self-respect. Might hop in the shower before I turn on the camera just to have the aura of feeling clean and pure. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people underestimate, having a haircut or having good hygiene and how that impacts your growth or just in general how you feel to determine how you come off on the camera or just in life, right? So, barbershops, man, they're essential. They're essential, man, to a man's growth. The amount of high level conversations I've had with Unc about life, about women, about ups, about downs, about music. A lot of his peers, come from the music business, to where if they stop in, I might get a gem from them, or we might actually clash because we got different viewpoints, but we know that it's all love. You know what I mean? It's always been love. You know what I'm saying? And, it's really amazing that when he cultivated his new space and, even though it's not for like mad barbers to be in there, it's probably at best for just 2, right? But him showing me what independence looks like, what making your own schedule looks like, what honoring your schedule looks like. You know what I mean? Like, everything is time sensitive. He's cutting people's hair that might drop 100, and it's probably people that is doing big level business where they might have to hop on the jet and get somewhere, or you know what I mean. And so a lot of people talk about being an entrepreneur and what they would do and the money they'll make, but it's like, you really got to show up for self. And sometimes it's hard to do that because you might lack the faith in just being at your shop today and see who comes up or see who might call for you to then put into your schedule. You know what I'm saying? And it isn't easy when that's your life. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure Unc got other trades and other ways to get his paper, and you know what I mean. But from what I know, he always shows up to his job. He's always doing his thing. An extreme hard worker. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, you know what I'm saying, the hairline, comes out the way it does. It's crispy, be crispy, and we feeling good about it. You know what I mean? So, I just had to show love to my guy, because I remember, like, even before I met him, when I used to live in Atlanta, and, going to school, it would be like, damn, like, folks got the widow's peak. You know what I mean? Like, folks got the naps, the napster. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, home, I had people in my home that didn't just let me come out looking any type of way. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was put together before I left the crib, and it was a ritual, right? It was something that was always consistent to do in the morning, and of course, this goes into reputation. This goes into, how girls, mate select, and like, this goes to even guys, like, feeling like, oh, okay, like, how cool is he? Like, is he a part of the dudes that, get fly, get money, take care of themselves? You know what I'm saying? Or is he just gonna look any type of way, smell any type of way? You know what I'm saying? And people don't tell you that that's how they're choosing to be around you, or to be friends with you, or to be in a relationship with you, right? But everyone's doing it. Now, for me, obviously, I'm looking at people like not only the same way, but I also know that not everybody got it like that. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody could afford a haircut, or afford to get their hair done, nails done, or afford to get the J's, afford to get, certain things that were like status symbols to, where we come from. You know what I'm saying? And, you'll get clowned if you don't have any of the sort that shows a certain level of status, and it's early elitism. I can't lie. It's early elitism. But for me, I had a lot of friendships and relationships, with so many different people, so many walks of life. You know what I'm saying? That just because, the Philippine cat didn't get his hair cut, or whatever the case, you know what I'm saying, didn't mean that the anime that me and him like, it excludes him from it, because, you know what I'm saying? Like, it. But you'd be surprised how many people make that the barometer of cool, or if you're going to be accepted by them. You know what I'm saying? And, with a haircut, I was the type of kid growing up where I might not have had a lot of fly shit early on, the basics, really. But it's something about even looking plain, right? But you clean, you crispy, you ironed your pants, you folded the cuffs, you got the cologne on, you got the deo on, you got, a little light gold chain, a little gold bracelet, you know what I'm saying? And to accent, to compliment, and then you got the haircut, and it's like that fit at best, didn't have to be so extravagant in cost, minimalistic, but it's like, how to put things together. You know what I'm saying? You know how to accent things. You know how to equip certain attachments. Everybody can go play Black Ops right now and know exactly what attachments they need for their gun to look cool while they killing their opponent. But it's that same way when you customize self and you go out into the world and you clash for them dollars. You clash for the baddest girl, or you clash for the girl that's, the illest for you. You know what I'm saying? And, chicks can talk all day about, oh, they like the dad bod. But to be honest, in reality, I don't think that's always the case. I think I can't speak for everybody, of course, but there are things in this life that are guarantees in attraction, in shit that you just can't help but being like, damn, yo, that dude cold. Like, he got it. You know what I mean? Like in whatever way, however you size that man up to know what that means for you. Hey, it is what it is. Same thing for the chicks. Hey, yo, that ain't gonna lie. Shorty was bad. Like, Shorty got it. You know, she probably not my tempo, probably not my speed, but you could acknowledge, like, there's gravity working here. You know what I'm saying? There's an attraction going on here. And, you know, with a haircut, it's like, it's just been an instant chick magnet, you know? But then it's like, if you don't keep up with it, the chicks that fell in love with your haircut, they'll like you for that crispy hot day. Maybe as it fades into the week, they gonna be around, but it also just lets you know what the game is and who's really there to be with you for you. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of this gets unpacked from a crispy hairline and a nice haircut and a style and all of that. You know, people try to find their identities through their hair. Like, the hair culture it's I mean, come on, it's one of them $1 trillion industries. You know what I'm saying? So it's crazy because, you know, Unc, man, he could do various styles. You know, it ain't just, you know, our culture of who we are and our hair texture. Like, I've seen him do various styles for other different races of people, and, you know, just being able to have your own space, you know, go up to Diamonds across the street or aside from where he's at, you know, get something to eat or go up to the gas station, whatever. It's like all the little store runs I remember doing, you know, just being around. It's like, you know, it teaches you shit, you know, like, you in the moment it's probably like, or in the moment it's like, hell yeah, like, I'm gonna get something too, what you want. You know, it's a community, man. It's family. It's everything that, you know, you want to be able to teach somebody else or pass game to somebody else. And, you know, having a haircut, man, it's like when I have a haircut, like, I'm not even gonna lie, like, it's not so much that that you see a different side of me, but there are signs. You know, like, I start popping it crazy. I start getting in a bag where it's like, ain't nothing nobody could do with me. Like, you know, I start talking like that. And it's just because the confidence is just feeling itself. It's like, you know what I mean? And it's attractive to feel like that. And people will try to, you know, act like, oh, he think he all that. You know I'm all that right now. You know, I never said I was all that. You said that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, you just got to be real with what it is. And you know, even without the haircut, when I'm on my, you know, hunter-gatherer mode and, you know what I'm saying? And I'm still wolfed out, but I'm still kind. I'm still able to, you know, show both sides of the coin. You know what I'm saying? Especially in the cold, it's like, damn, you might as well be scruffy out here. You know what I mean? Just to keep in the heat. But like I said, you know, when it comes to certain professionalism about what we do in the craft, you know, if you could afford to be crispy, you know, for self and because, you know, you got a job to do, I look at the haircuts like that. Like, all right, like, I might get 1 or 2 a month, you know, space it out, or just once a month and then space it out. Like, I could live like that. Back then, maybe when I was more in school and all of that, I would try to upkeep it, you know, but even then it didn't matter to me because it was just like, again, bread for where I was putting it, especially early on with the music. That's where my focus and my care and intent was. But my consistency of always showing up for self, you know what I'm saying? Like, this has been a healthy part of the growth of who I am. You know what I'm saying? And look, people might be like, wow, like, this is really crazy. Like, he made content about, you know, just barbershop talk. Really? You know what I'm saying? But when I got the cut yesterday, I was just like, man, like, you know what? I'm gonna make an episode about that. I want to see, if other barbers might tap in, and if you are, like, hit the comment section. Where you from? How's your business going? Like, what are some of the conversations y'all have? Like, what y'all be on? You could know a lot about a person from a haircut. That's a fact. That's a fact. For me, some people might go to the church. I'm gonna go to the barbershop. You know what I'm saying? It's different perspectives. I'm not either or. There is no right or wrong, right? It's therapy. I feel like for a lot of dudes out there, man, they think like they gotta be hard 24/8. You know what I'm saying? Like they just gotta be all cylinders go. Like, and it's like, yo, like, there's more to life than being like that. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Like, you could definitely dial it back, and figure out, okay, like, you could definitely feel like, if I get this cut and then I roll with these people, then the perception of, it's gonna make me look like a tough guy because I'm clean. But it's like, sometimes when you just, get crispy, get clean, and you just move like it's just natural, like you're not even trying to show it off and rub it in or whatever the case may be. It's like, it's just different. You know what I'm saying? You find that people gravitate to you more because you're attractive, and because it just feels like your humility level is at a pace to where people could receive you. Oftentimes people don't realize, and I get this too, and me saying this, even if I seem like a nice guy talking to you guys, and after all the videos I've put out, music I put out, you guys think I'm a good guy, okay, maybe that's debatable. You know what I'm saying? But in my life, like, my girl, right, like, she'll be at work, and whoever she be working with, they'll be like, yo, like, I didn't know that's your man's, like, that's your boyfriend. And it was like, she's like, yeah, and one of their comments will be like, wow, like, he's scary looking, like, he's so serious, in the face. And and the thing about it is, like, I laugh because it's like, it's not just from her I've heard that from, right? But I like having the aura of, you can't just run up to me on some dumb shit. You know what I'm saying? I like that I exude a level of a masculine frame and energy to be like, all right, like, if I'm gonna talk to him, I gotta talk to him correct, because I don't know what type of time he gonna be on. You know what I'm saying? And oftentimes when you get a haircut, it makes it difficult for people that are clowns or jokesters or pranksters or clout chasers to just play with you in any type of way, just because they see that you don't just carry yourself any type of way. I'm not saying that just because you crispy you couldn't get dealt with. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm just saying, like, everybody has their own, like, aura level and what that is. And sometimes my aura is just felt. I call it now. If the kids is finally picking up on the word aura, which is crazy, I'ma just say hockey from here on out. My level of hockey. You know what I mean? Shout out to the One Piece fans, and look, I'm wearing the Deku jersey right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm wearing the One for All vibes. I'm wearing the My Hero Academia vibes, because we gonna lock in on that anime, for an episode as well today. So just stay tuned. I figured let me pilot the joint with the barbershop talk, and then we go in. And so, it's like my level of hockey when I pop out, when I step out of my house, where that charges me up, that has an infinite supply of hockey. You know what I'm saying? People feel that shit no matter what department they in, no matter what zone, what sector, like, and I ain't gonna lie, it's kind of badass when you notice that it's like, damn, like I ain't even know I was really built like that. Like for real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I got a level of built, but like, you know, I'm not popping it crazy. Like, yo, like put the money in the bag. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not, you know what I mean? I feel like I just be walking regular, like moving around regular. To myself, I'm quiet, probably got an earbud in. I'm just laser focused on what I'm there for. If I'm there for my woman after she get off break, then I'm there for her. Like respectfully, nobody else matters. You know, if I recognize you, if you know, you recognize me and then you make it known that we know each other, then now you exist. You know what I'm saying? But to keep it a being, like I'm very mission oriented, very objective oriented. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm not saying that like my nose is in the air with that shit. I'm just saying that I'm so about my business that nobody else's business matters to my business. You know what I'm saying? My woman is my business. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to, you know, go to the mall or go wherever and be chummy chum with everybody. Nah, man, that's not, I'm not for everybody. I'm an acquired taste. Okay. In the words of Penguin. All right. I'm an acquired taste. You know what I'm saying? And I like to have that shit on. I like to have my hair cut crispy. I like to smell good. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a part of who I am. It's a part of my aura, my hockey. You know, everything that makes me me. You know what I'm saying? You know, you're able to see a side of me, a light of me that is like, wow, like it might inspire you to take care of you wherever you deficient. You know what I'm saying? People underestimate lotion. I would implore you to use your lotion. You know what I'm saying? Use your deodorant. I would apply. Yo, work out. What do you want? Do you want the physique? Do you want a nice body? Like, you gotta sculpt this shit, man. You know what I'm saying? You gotta customize self from all levels. It's not just the material, right? Customize your mind state. I feel like when I get crispy, everything sharpens. Even though when I'm rugged, I'm thinking about, you know, some next level shit anyway. You know what I'm saying? When, you know, beware of when I'm rugged and you ain't seen me in months post anything. I'm up to something. I'm telling you I'm up to something. I've always been up to something. You know what I'm saying? Like when I get the cut, it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, whew, all right, I put in mad work. You know, let me treat myself. You know what I'm saying? Let me get a nice fade. You know, go to the movie or buy a game or, you know what I mean? Work on a rap or whatever it is. Like I'm able to just move around in a way where, you know, I'm really to myself and at the same time, I know how to be personable with others and talk to people. You know, I'm very multifaceted. You know what I'm saying? But with the haircut, the reason why I bring that up is because oftentimes when you do have a haircut, you know, you feel like you could talk to anybody. You know what I'm saying? And you know, again, I could talk to anybody without it. But I'm just saying, like, there is a level of, wow, like, that man is put together. Even though he asks a simple question, in a way, I respect him more just from him asking, whether it was simple or not. And just the fact that the quality of person that's asking me, it's a guy that looks like how he's presented today. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just presentation. You know what I'm saying? It's just presentation. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to style it different than others. You know, like I'm going to style it different. My logos is clean. You know, my artwork for my music is clean. You know what I'm saying? I'm able to talk to my chat GBT, and we got such a great relationship that things is coming out pristine and clean. You know what I mean? Everything is a level of organization and focus. And when you got that level of organization about you on the outside, right? Because nobody's going to know what you know in the inside unless you bond with them and chop it up. So what they see on the outside is what they're banking on to determine if you as legit as you appear to be. And when they find out that you are, then it's just more that adds to the level of your your attraction. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, shout outs to Unc one time. You know what I'm saying? Shout outs to Unc. You feel me? Like, that's my guy. Like, you know, whatever y'all feel, about getting a haircut and what it means to you, please drop that in the comment section. Like, share, subscribe. We're in February now. This is February 1st. Last month I tried to get my best to get these last 2 videos in before midnight, but you know, Wi-Fi and things loading because, you know, they're long files, and you know, so I think it's safe to say that we put out 15 videos at different time lengths for December. I mean, not for December, excuse me, for January. December, I think I put out like 5. So I'm working. You know what I'm saying? I'm working. I'm here today. I'm crispy today. You know what I'm saying? This cut could run me a couple of videos and outfits, man. We gonna run it up. See, that's the thing. It's like when you time the cut, you getting your money's worth. It's not you just being fresh just for the sake of it. I know that if I'm crispy, then my content is gonna be crispy. I know that you know, if I'm sexy, then chicks that is looking at me gonna feel like, damn, like he's sexy, like. And I know you do. I know you think about that shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm off the market, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm off the market. But you know what I mean? I'm here to present that quality. You know, that self quality. You know what I'm saying? That quantum quality. Yeah, man. Having a taper fade, for me at least, you know, it's the truth. I used to grow my hair out and just edge it up, get the line up and stuff like that, you know, if I wanted to grow my hair out and then twist it up. But, you know, maintenance, everything is maintenance, you know what I'm saying? So when you time, for me now, at least where I'm at in my life, it's like, what do I got going on that could justify a cut? Am I gonna perform? You know, am I gonna do a show, like go live, stream on a panel, or cook my own content from the desk? Like, what is it that the haircut be implemented in that I can maximize and get the most out of? You know what I'm saying? And you know, game recognized game. That's just where we at with it. You know what I'm saying? So this one is a shout out to Unc. You know what I mean? Thank you for all that you do, for all the years of taking care of me and my hairline. God bless you. You know what I'm saying? God bless those that, you know, get fresh cuts out there in the world doing their thing. Salute. You know what I'm saying? I see barbers even they have, like, you know, they drive around in like Sprinter vans and stuff, and they making content out of that, which I think is super brilliant. You know, making more ways of just income, just coming in off of what you do. You know what I'm saying? I know that the game shifted to where rappers are now commentators or people just talking for a living now, but you can still be active in both. It just takes a creative to figure out where to mesh the two. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, salute to you guys. This is another episode from the Heavy Metals of Honor. You know, man, I'm having so much fun. It's crazy even having 15 videos just bang bang just uploading off the rip like this, because you know I just wanted to get to a space in life where, you know what I'm saying, I could really start to flex, like, you know, what I know, and flex my hockey on, you know, certain topics and certain things. It's not just music. I put a lot of my hockey in the music. That's why for a lot of people that engage with it get intimidated. You know what I'm saying? Because it's the most highest confidence self, you know, my spiritual self. You know what I'm saying? And so when I tell you that a haircut is a part of that strength, you know what I'm saying? Believe me. You know, if not, that's to your own, you know, detriment. That's on you. But Confidence is key. Once you have confidence, man, like rejection is nothing. Rejection is a raindrop in the middle of the ocean. You know what I'm saying? You absorb it. You know what I'm saying? And when you understand that, it's like there's nothing nobody can do with you. And, knowing that you could see yourself, clearly on what it would be to be crispy, to be fresh. When you see yourself so many times like that, even if you couldn't afford it for the X amount of time, months, whatever, you know that you got that inner self where everything just makes sense within you. And you can always access that when you need it. And so today we here. We live. We gonna represent. Much love to everybody watching. Shit, till next time, man. Stay tuned.